Hey guys, Casey here again. Right now I'm going to bring you my first Lush haul and some mini reviews. So I'm super excited. I've never bought anything from Lush before this, and I just want to let you guys know kind of my first impressions and what I've been thinking. Now, the first product I don't have with me because I've already used it. And some of you may have seen me asking around about the henna hair dyes from Lush. I had about 2-inch long roots, and my natural hair color is very ashy, very kind of gray tinged, very unattractive. So I decided maybe to go a different route with my hair dyeing. So instead of going to a salon and getting it chemically processed, I wanted to do something that was more natural. So I went ahead and I decided to try the henna hair dye, and I'm not 100% sold on it, but I do like it, and here's why. And actually, you know what, first I'm going to read off what the company claims that it is. So I have my computer right here, and first of all, it's called Caca Brun Mama. So I appreciate the fact that they can poke fun at themselves because they call it caca, because it looks like you have dunked your hair in excrement when it's on your head. I'll go ahead and put in a picture right here for reference of how I looked with this stuff in my hair. Yeah, it was gross. It's called Caca Brun Mama. It is a rich dark brown henna in a conditioning block. So it has two things. It has Persian henna and cocoa butter. Now it says the cocoa butter as well as having its own conditioning benefits. Cocoa butter helps the henna cling to each hair, maximizing its effect. That's one of the things that makes our henna so much better than anybody else's. Then, for the Persian henna, it says, we use the finest Persian henna, which has been used since ancient times to dye the skin and hair. The leaves are dried and ground into a powder, and it is this mixed with conditioning cocoa butter which forms the basis of our cacas. And then, so what it claims to do, it says it gives you coffee luster. You use this color for sleek, beautiful hair with rich, dark brown tones. Brunettes can use Caca Brun for its fantastic conditioning properties without seeing a drastic change to their natural color. And apparently it also is supposed to make it super shiny. Because henna coats each individual hair, soothing the cuticles and protecting it from damage, it is the ultimate conditioning treatment. Hennaed hair is strong, glossy, and absolutely gorgeous. So I agree, and I disagree with some of that stuff. Now, it's a dye as well as a hair treatment. As a hair treatment, I think it's awesome. It has definitely made my hair feel stronger, shinier, more silky, and I love that. As far as the hair dyeing goes, that's where I'm kind of on the fence with it, because it did dye my hair, definitely did. It made it super shiny and gorgeous, got rid of all of that ashy tone, but I don't think it was coffee luster. I don't think it was as dark as it claimed that I thought it was going to be when I got it, so it doesn't actually match the rest of my hair. I have pretty dark dyed hair, so I wanted to match it with the rest of it. It's a lot more golden toned than the rest of my hair, but it does blend a lot better than it did before, so I can't really complain. And this was about $25, it was $24.95, so it's not cheap necessarily. It would cost I guess not too much more than I would use if I did a box dye, because I'd have to use 2 boxes to cover my hair, but definitely less than going to a salon and getting it done. So as far as the price goes, not terrible, not super cheap, not super expensive. Now, as far as the application of it went, the process was awful. I'm going to admit it was really terrible. If you don't have patience, don't do this. Also, if you're not very dexterous, don't use this. But if you've got a whole day where you're not doing anything and you want to dye your hair but also make it stronger and healthier and not chemically processed, then go for it. So what you have to do, it comes in a block, and I'll go ahead and insert a picture of the block here. So this block, it has 6 squares, and basically what you do is, depending on the length of your hair, is how many blocks you should use. I ended up having to use all of them because I mean I have fairly long hair. So I took I took 2 blocks first, and you have to chop them up, which is not fun necessarily. And you know, I had read a bunch of reviews before trying this product, and all of them said how bad it smelled. And as I'm chopping, I'm thinking, this doesn't smell too bad. It's a little floral, a little spicy, but not awful. So I'm chopping it up, and then you add hot water to make it dissolve and kind of, it'll become like a batter consistency, like someone else referred to it as like a brownie batter texture, which is fairly accurate. Also, it's green. It is like green paste. It does not look brown, so I was a little concerned at first, although I mean, I've had henna tattoos and that's kind of green, but it made me a little bit nervous because it doesn't like turn brown. Like, you know how if you use a regular hair dye, it goes on one color, but it'll gradually turn to the color that your hair is supposed to be. This doesn't do that. It's green. So anyway, I go through and I followed the instructions of the girl who was working with me at Lush, and now they are super helpful people. Super helpful. So nice. So she told me to go through and using a hair dyeing brush to go ahead and apply it to my roots first. So that took me probably about 45 minutes just to get, because it is thick and it's not super wet, so you literally have to like coat every single piece. It's not going to do it itself. You can't really like work it in very well. So anyway, I'm coating it, finally get all of my roots done. Then I had to leave it on my roots for 2 hours. Now, this is where I think maybe I should have left it on longer, and if I decide to do this again, I'm going to leave it on longer, and I'm also going to put coffee grounds in it, because the girl there said that if you want a richer color, you can add coffee grounds. So I might do that if I have 10 hours that I can do this again. So it took about 45 minutes. I left it in there by itself just on the roots for 2 hours. Then I used the other 4 blocks to coat the rest of my hair, and then left that on for about 4.5 to 5 hours. And biggest mistakes that I did is I did it when I got home from work one day, because the next day was my boyfriend's birthday and I wanted to have pretty hair for the next day. But I ended up staying up until about 2 in the morning before I could finally wash this stuff out. Definitely do it on a day that you have nothing else going on, because it takes forever. So maybe if I had left it on the roots a little bit longer, it would have been darker, but it's not, so there's nothing I can do about that right now. But anyway, so you then wrap your hair in either a shower cap, or in my case, because I didn't have a shower cap on hand, you wrap it in saran wrap. So I wrapped my head in saran wrap, left it on, for about 4 or 5 hours, and then when you go to wash it out, it is very chunky, because it's almost like mud. So when mud dries, it gets kind of gross. So you're like basically washing chunks of this stuff out of your hair. The washing it out, also an awful experience. Now, what I didn't mention is as soon as you add water to this stuff, it smells horrible. Like so bad. I can't even really describe it. It just smells disgusting. So if you also have a weak sense of smell, I wouldn't even try this. It's very strong, very odoriferous, not pleasant. Once I wrapped it up and everything, it wasn't too bad, but it still smells nasty. And it only gets worse when you're stuck in a shower trying to wash this stuff out and you can't escape from the smell. So, not fun. That part's not fun. I had to wash it out a couple times, shampoo it a couple times before I could get all the little pieces out. It stained a few things in the process, but so does hair dye. So, what can you do? But anyway, so in the end, I don't know how well you can see this, but obviously there is still a line from where my roots were. It's just not quite as noticeable, and it did make it very lustrous, and as a treatment, I think it's great. They also have a few different colors. They have a black color, a bright red, the brown, and a chestnut, reddish brown. the girl I worked with at Lush, she had the brightest, most fire engine Little Mermaid red hair, and she said that she uses the red one. So if you're looking to go red without a chemical, I would suggest that, because her hair looked phenomenal. And maybe I will try this again just when I have a little bit more time. And also, you can't use this if you've had a chemical process done to your hair within the last month, so just keep that in mind. So moving on from that product, what I did end up washing my hair with when I got in the shower was one of these solid shampoos. And the one that I have is called Trichomania, and it says yummy coconut shampoo to hydrate dry and fluffy hair. Again, the girls at Lush were super helpful. They really took the time to figure out what it was that I was looking for and try to help me get the best for my skin type, my hair type. So this, I had explained to them that I kind of have a dry, itchy scalp, but it also gets oily. So I have kind of a weird situation with my scalp, plus, my hair itself is a little bit dry, a little damaged, color treated. So they suggested this one. It's supposed to be their most gentle shampoo, and instead of coming in the little discs, they come in these huge blocks, and then they slice off a block for you. Now this one, so it's $47 a pound, but you don't buy it. Mine is just a slice. So this slice cost me $10.81. But she said, and I don't know if I believe this, but she said that it's supposed to last 60 to 90 washes. Now, I don't wash my hair very often. In fact, I hate washing my hair. So if that's true, this is going to last me a really, really long time. And I've used it a couple times, and you can't really, it doesn't look any thinner. So that's cool. And I actually used a little bit of it to try to wash one of my foundation brushes today. But it is super gentle. It smells amazing. It's like very coconutty. It's like, smells like coconut and like cocoa butter or shea butter or something. But it smells really, really good. And it's really interesting. I think this is great for people with long hair. Short hair too, but especially for people with long hair. Because if you do have long hair, you know how hard it is to get every part of your hair when you're washing it. So this, you almost like comb through your hair with it. You can like lather it up and do it that way, and that works best for doing your ends. But for all those hard to get places with shampoo, you just kind of like go in it with like, as if it were a bar of soap, and like on your skin, but you do it in your hair, and it washes really clean. It makes your hair feel really, really clean, and it smells awesome. So this is a really interesting product, and I look forward to using it more. The next, also, they threw in a little free sample of another dry shampoo called Karma Comba. I haven't used it yet because I just realized that it was in there. That smells pretty good too, and I just thought it was really nice that they threw in a little free sample in there for me. Okay, so the next thing is one of the bath bombs. I'm going to look up what this is called. Okay, so I just looked this up. It's actually, it's not a bath bomb. It's actually a bubble bar, and it's called the Creamy Candy Bubble Bar, and that is exactly what it smells like. It smells like candy, and I love sweet candy smelling stuff, and this thing smells amazing. I also love that. I love that. And so it's bright pink, and what you do is you break off a piece of it and put it in your bath while the water is running, and I used probably about a third of it. Yeah, I'd say about a quarter to a third of it. So this will probably last me at least 2, maybe 3 more baths, and this costs $7.25. So this is an indulgence. This is not something that I'm going to buy all the time, but maybe every once in a while to treat myself, because it smells so good, and it makes your bath water feel so like milky, like so hydrating, and it creates all these bubbles. It's very, very girly, and it had a little flower in there too. So cute. So I really like that. It's like candy and vanilla goodness. And then I also got one of their fresh face masks. Now these you have to keep in the refrigerator, and they don't last very long. So I used it once. I probably have 2, maybe 3 more uses out of this, but I have to use it before the 12th of February, so I don't have very much time. One I got is called Cupcake, and it smells like chocolate. Like minty, chocolatey goodness. Like, you know those little Andes chocolate mints? That's exactly what this smells like. It smells so good. And you put it in your face. And so what this one is for, and I'll just read off what it says here. It says, to calm breakouts, this Rasol mud cleans and soothes, while cocoa butter, linseed, and cocoa powder soften the skin. Balancing peppermint, spearmint, and sandalwood oils complete the effective deep cleansing experience. Smooth onto dry skin, avoiding the eye area. Leave for 5 to 10 minutes, then rinse away with warm water. Keep it chilled. So what the girl told me when I was looking at the different masks, and I kind of wanted this one already because it smelled so good. I didn't even know anything about it, but it turns out that she said it was going to work pretty well for me because this product is specifically geared towards teenage skin, which basically means acne-prone, oily skin, which is basically what I have. And at the time, you know, I just got this stuff maybe less than a week ago, and I was having really bad breakouts. I still am a little bit, but I think this helped. And I do have oily skin, so I went ahead, I used this, and first impression obviously smells delicious. Later that night, after I washed it off, I felt like my skin was really overproducing oils, which I thought was kind of weird. I don't usually have that reaction with masks, but then, you know, I went over my face with an astringent before bed and haven't had any problems since then. But I feel like some of the stuff that was kind of barely there was more easily able to come to the surface, and it also helped to clear up some of the existing issues that I was having. So I'm looking forward to using the rest of this, and oh my god, seriously guys, this stuff, like, all this stuff smells so good except for the henna here. Sorry about that, ran out of memory on my SD card there. But the last product that I have for you guys is the Dirty Toothy Tabs, which is solid toothpaste. Now, the only thing that I'm really sad about is this is not the one that I originally picked up. I thought that I was getting the new one, the Choo Choo I Love You flavor, because that one smelled like bubblegum, which is awesome, and I really dislike the flavor of minty toothpaste. I really don't like it. So when I smelled that, I was like, I need to get this. So I went to grab one that hadn't been opened, and apparently I grabbed the wrong one. I got the dirty one, which is fine, just not the one I thought I was getting. Now this one will run you about $3.95. It's not too bad, and I'm going to show you one. It's no bigger than an aspirin. If I can get it out. Come on. I feel like this was not that hard before. Oh, come on. There we go. So no bigger than an aspirin, and basically what you do is, like, you put it in your, like, 2 front teeth, you wet your toothbrush, and you're, like, chomp that up a little bit, and then you brush your teeth with it. It does get foamy. This one in particular, it tastes like spearmint and baking powder, or baking soda. Baking soda, not baking powder, I lied. So, which sounds more terrible than I think it actually is, because the baking soda and the spearmint, it's kind of subtle, so it's not like a horrible flavor. I just don't really like minty flavors that much. But anyway, so I mean, it's not bad. I thought what I do like about this is not only is it an interesting concept, and this would be amazing for travel, but because it has to have some kind of baking soda properties or something in there, because when I used this, I felt like my teeth looked instantly whiter, like instantly whiter. It was really odd, but you know, baking soda has whitening properties, and because I mean, if that's not what this has in it, it's got to be something very similar, because it whitens very quickly. So I'm pretty excited to use this more. I've only used it twice now, but it's very different. It's very interesting. Now, the other thing that I like about Lush products is that The packaging on everything is super minimal, no excess packaging. It's very environmentally friendly. All of the packaging is fully recyclable and biodegradable, so that's really, really neat, and everything is encouraging you to, this bag can be used in a compost pile. Everything else, everything says on it, please recycle me and everything like that. So I think that's really, really neat. And I think it's a really cool company. Is it a little overpriced? Maybe, but you're getting really good quality for what you're paying for. So I think maybe I will purchase some more Lush products in the future, maybe not anytime soon, but maybe when I run out of some of these things, I think I might definitely repurchase some of the solid shampoos, maybe even get one of the solid conditioners, because that looks pretty interesting. And in the future I may also repurchase the henna hair dye. So I'll definitely keep you updated. Also, what I didn't mention before is that the hair dye, it gets darker the longer that it's in there. Not while the product is in there, but when I first washed out my hair, I was so freaked out because it looked bright, kind of golden blonde, which my hair is not blonde, so I was kind of freaking out that it like lightened my hair. But it's been a few days now and it's gotten much, much, much darker, so that's pretty nice. Maybe it'll even get even more darker, I don't know, but so don't freak out if it's not exactly what the color that you thought it would be when you first wash your hair out, because the color will deepen within a few days. So that's it for my Lush haul and reviews. I guess they weren't even so much mini reviews because I think this is going to be a really long video, but sorry about that. But hopefully it was informative, and that's all I have for you today. So until next time, bye.